Hello Internet Dwellers, I'm Oki, and there is a reason why it took me so long to watch 2017's Rings. That reason, if I'm going to be totally honest, is because I didn't think it looked all that great. That Final Destination-esque airplane sequence from the trailer especially did not really fancy my interest. So from the beginning I planned on skipping it until the DVD release. But when was it going to be released on DVD? The film was basically in production limbo for a long time, and when it finally was going to get released in October, I had changed my mind and decided that I would go watch it. Only because my birthday's in October and I usually try to take a group of friends with me to go watch whatever horror movie's playing, no matter how good or bad it may look. But then the film got pushed back to February instead of October, so I just ended up not watching it. And that wasn't the first time it was pushed back, apparently. It was supposed to be released in November of 2015, but then they changed it. Then it was rescheduled to be released on April 1st, but then they changed it. And then it was rescheduled to October 28th, which was when I was going to go see it. But then that was changed. So things weren't looking too good for the movie to start with. Now, a lot of people took this as a sign that the film's probably just really bad, which is probably not true because, if anything, they just wanted to pick the right month. In October, there was another Paranormal Activity movie that was being released, I think, and that might be why they pushed it back. But anyway, let's talk about the movie itself. I actually wasn't disappointed, but the reason why I wasn't disappointed was because I did not have any high hopes. I really didn't think it was going to be that great. And I say I wasn't disappointed because I got exactly what I expected. Rings opens up with that airplane scene that I brought up earlier. It establishes that there is still a group of kids that are watching the cursed tape and passing it around, even in this day and age when nobody watches VHS tapes anymore. As you can tell from the trailer, our first victim gets killed in this opening sequence. But then we cut to 2 years later when a college professor named Gabriel ends up buying the VHS tape of that victim from a thrift store with his, alternative looking girlfriend. We're introduced to them in a very short scene before we cut to two other characters. Julia, who looks a lot like Jessica Alba in The Eye, which is another Asian remake, and her boyfriend Holt, who has the coolest eyebrows since Wes Bentley. The best eyebrows, said the boy who looks like he doesn't have any. We quickly learn that Holt is going off to college, but Julia is staying behind. After Holt leaves, we're shown that he gets a little bit distant. His college friends pull him away from a Skype session with Julia, and she gets very sad about it. She stops hearing from him for a while until she gets a Skype call from... what was that girl's name again? It's Gabriel's girlfriend. What the hell is her name? Sky. How could I forget that name? It's so unique. So she gets a Skype call from Sky, and Sky is asking Julia where Holt is, and she's very freaked out. So of course, Julia, being the loving girlfriend she is, goes to the college campus to try to find out what's going on. Now you can probably figure out, of course, somehow he got involved with the videotape, and now Julia's gonna get involved too. Julia ends up finding out that Holt joined a group called The Seven, where each member watches a copy of the videotape, and Gabriel makes a copy for them so somebody else can watch it. This way nobody dies, right? Julia also finds out that Holt only has 12 hours left to live, so she ends up watching the video to save him. Gabriel makes a copy of the video that she watched, but then he realizes that her copy is a bigger style size than the other ones. So she watches her own copy, and we're shown that it's a whole new set of different images. What do these images mean? Who's that weird woman that Julia keeps seeing? Is Julia gonna live? Is her boyfriend gonna live? What's gonna happen? It basically begins to copy the first film, taking our characters to a different town, having them figure out what's going on, etc., etc. And you might say that most sequels sort of copy the structure of the first film in the series, but this one was just so dull. But I'm not going to get into spoiler territory. And the reason why it took me so long to explain the plot is because for half the film, there wasn't really a plot. I think the main reason the film didn't work was because we are given a really unnecessary and unwanted backstory. It's sort of a backstory that would have been covered already by the other films if it was important, but it's really not. Obviously the backstories are about Samara Morgan and her mom, and you would think, wow, we're gonna get to learn something about them that we haven't learned before. But the thing that they went with just didn't work. Damn it, now I'm contemplating spoiling it. Okay, if you haven't seen the movie and you'd rather not be spoiled, go ahead and click off right now. The big revelation, I guess, is that Samara's father was a priest that raped her mom, Evelyn. And our characters end up finding this priest character. They find his home, they don't know it's him at first, and I, for some reason, just assumed it was him. So when they revealed that it was him, I was like, oh, that was the secret? It turns out he blinded himself so Samara couldn't kill him, which ends up not working out for him at all in the end, of course. But that's basically it. We didn't really find anything else out about Samara or about her mom. We still don't know why Samara has those weird powers. I guess we kinda know why Samara's mom went crazy, but it just makes the overall story not very compelling. And if you're going into the film just looking for scares, there really aren't very many. And the ones that are there are stuff we've already seen in the previous two films, so it's nothing special. I don't want to end the review by saying the movie sucked, because it didn't suck. It just wasn't that great. It didn't bring anything new to the table, I guess. So I wasn't disappointed because I had low expectations, and I expected sort of what I got in the end. I would only recommend this movie to people that are huge fans. For example, if you find yourself watching gameplay for that Ring video game that they released for the Dreamcast, you're probably gonna check this out anyway. Actually, you probably already checked this out. I'm so late to the game. I will say this, there's a short film called Rings in the Ring 2 DVD that's way better than this movie. I'm not sure who directed that short film, but it basically does what I think the first half of this movie wanted to do, but failed horribly. It follows a group of teenagers that are watching the film and passing it on to each other, sort of like a club. And actually, it kind of plays like a prequel to The Ring 2, because the lead character in the short film is the character in the beginning of The Ring 2. So, check out Rings, the short film, if you haven't already. Avoid Rings, the full-length film, if you haven't already. I'm not sure if that last bit made sense. But anyway, until next time, stay scared.